Let's go ahead and get started. Thank y'all so much for joining. See a couple familiar faces from last week. Welcome back. Super excited to get this going. This is week 2, Small Market Mastermind. My name is Nathan Holliday, and we are out here in rainy, gray, and cold and windy Woodward, Oklahoma. We're up in the northwest part of the Panhandle, and we've got a market of about 12,000 people. So we're really small, hyper local is what we call it, and we are all about relationship driven real estate, starting conversations that lead to relationships and opportunities. So we've got Charlie here from Maine, and Charlie, I'm going to kick it over to you. I've got your videos queued up, so whenever you want to, we want to switch to that, I can share my screen and share those. And so the floor
So
is yours.
when I first brought it to the attention, so I have my own office. My husband and I actually have our own office, and we have 2 administrators and 8 agents. And I bring up things to everybody, like, I want your input. Like, what do you think? So I never really saw a lot of commercials on TV for real estate. So I said, you know what? I think I have a really good idea. And I was so outvoted. So like everybody's like, no, 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 that's money that we don't need to spend, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't listen. So I talked to Channel 5, and Anna is the lady that I speak with. And I said, look, I have this idea that I think would be really cute, and I think it's going to stick in people's minds. And I said, so what if I have granddaughters? I have 10 grandchildren. I said, but 4 of the girls like are at my house all the time. I know if I say something to them, there's no question, like they're just going to do it, and they're going to be excited about it. So I said, let's make them, 2 of them, the agents. 2 of them can be like staging the house and stuff. And Jim and I, my husband and I, will be the buyers. And she said, I think that's an excellent idea. So that's what we did. And she came up with the script, and the girls, like, they really practiced and stuff. So the youngest of all of them is Tegan, and she was one of the stagers. She had a chair, and so Jim and I just said, yeah, we'll take it. And here they have been supposedly working all day on this project. And she, and all your work is for naught because now it's sold. And she took her chair and she had it in her hand, and she goes, really? Or no, she goes, seriously? And I said, Tegan Grace, you have got to be so mad and so frustrated, that you put all this effort in. You have to holler it like you mean it. And she did. And the first time I showed it to her, she said, Mammy, that doesn't sound like me at all. But it hit. So, and then we did a follow-up commercial to the closing day with just the 2 older girls. I sincerely cannot go to the grocery store. And honestly, it just happened on Tuesday. I called Jim right up when I was there. I'm leaving the grocery store, put my groceries in the back of the car, I'm walking back inside. There was this woman standing there with her granddaughter, and she said, excuse me. And I said, hi. I say hi to everybody. She said, are you the real estate agent down the road, the Remax place? And I said, yes, I am. I saw your commercial last night, and that is the cutest. She remembered the office from the commercial. So anyway, I just think it was a really, like, in Maine, we can't do billboards. They're not allowed. I got it, but it was a challenge. So Maine is very old school. So anyway, you can go ahead and show them, and now that you have a prelude to how it happened.
Awesome. Yeah. And so for those of you that have kind of joined in here, so we've got Charlie from Dexter, Maine, and Charlie has been doing TV commercials for years. And so that's interesting that they won't allow billboards. Is that because of the landscape and kind of
The entire state, even down in the city, down in Portland, you cannot have a billboard.
That is crazy. Wow. Okay, awesome. So Charlie sent over a couple of these commercials, and I'm going to show them back to back, one after the other. So I'm going to share my screen, And you guys give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Sharing now. I see a thumbs up. Can people see the screen? Thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. We're going to show this first one here.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hi, happy you could make it. Come on in. This beauty is 2,000 square feet of open floor plan, featuring 2.5 baths. You know, it's our job to find you the right home. So what do you think?
We'll take it.
Okay, pack it up. Seriously? Aw, man! We are RE/MAX Infinity. Well, this is exciting.
We are so excited. Thank you so much for helping us find our perfect home.
We are happy to help. If you need help buying or selling your next home, our agents at RE/MAX Infinity are here for you. We are
RE/MAX Infinity.
Awesome. Love it. Those are super cute commercials. So
People remember them. I have other commercials too. We have a commercial, our team. So it's a whole, and it's just all the agents, you know, putting out a sign and walking people through properties and stuff. It came out really good too. And I won't stop because I'm a firm believer of once you start doing something, if you stop, people think you went out of business. So
that's a good thought. So can you walk us through a little bit of your process? So do you work with the same videographer? How did you find them? Let's start there.
So the videographer is right from Channel 5. So it's the same team every time that comes. And I've built such a relationship with them that you know, no matter how crazy most people think my ideas are or whatever, like somehow between them and myself, we pull it together. And it really, I think it portrays to the public that we're just normal people. You know what I mean? I think sometimes people think real estate agents don't work, which is a joke. But with them seeing us, you know, with family and doing and being part of the community, we're huge into doing stuff for the community. It's just a constant. You can't be the best kept secret, right? You have to be in the forefront all the time. So Valentine's Day, we always do a big chocolate thing, something for the local florist, because that's like the most obnoxious day of the year next to Mother's Day. So we always say, well, here's a little love for you on the day when you're spreading so much. So it's important.
That's great.
And now I'm going to be lifting that.
So one thing you said on our first call last week that the local news is a really big part of your culture because of the weather. And trust me, we totally identify with that in Oklahoma. We're in the middle of Tornado Alley. And so local news is a big deal. So we don't actually have a local news station here in Woodward anymore, but radio is big for that reason. And so you contact the local news team. How much time do you guys typically spend coming up with the concepts for a commercial? How many commercials do you shoot a year? And what kind of budget do you usually spend on that? I know you touched on that last time, but I want to hear.
right. So we're right around between 24 and 30, I think, probably for commercials. Typically we shoot 4. And as far as it's not really because we work together really well. So like I'll come up with an idea, we'll bounce ideas off each other, and then it's you know, she like within a week probably I have like the write-up of this is how we're going to do this. This will be, you know, voiceover, pictures or whatever. And in all honesty, like we shot both the commercials you just watched, we shot in just a few hours. It didn't take that much time at all. So it's really, because we're so rural and, because, I mean, during the pandemic was the first time that I had really been in multiple offer situations, and it went from none to every single contract was multiple. It was insane. So we're really, really small town, you know. As a matter of fact, we do a 40-mile radius from our office. That's what we cover. Have to.
Wow, yeah, that's incredible. So let's see here. Switch the screen over to here. So 40-mile radius. So about how long would you say your average drive time is to a listing? It's a 40-mile radius.
Right. So you're at least an hour. If you're going to the very end of it, hour and a half, depending on where it is. If it's out on the island, it's a full day. Like you show up in your car and you drive onto the boat and you drive, the boat takes you to the island. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Okay, I want to open it up. Charlie, can I open it up to some Q&A for you, and then we'll kind of shift into
Absolutely.
this? Okay, so you guys have some questions for Charlie on her process, on some other things. Go ahead and come off of mute and jump in. Yeah, Kirk's got a question. There you
Charlie,
go.
could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
We are obviously rural too. The closest TV station to us is about 100 miles away. And there's one direction and one the other. How far are you from your TV station? And do you have multiple stations that you talk to or work with?
So, I'm about 30 miles, between 30 and 40 miles. I'm about an hour away from them. And they are the ones that produce my commercials. I did for a small period of time. They can put my commercials onto this program, and I don't understand what it is because that's not my job. But if I want to put it on channel 7 as well as 5, then channel 7 can go in and pull those commercials out of wherever they are. And I can pay to have them shown, but they don't produce mine.
Okay.
Only channel 5 does.
So do you only run it then on channel 5?
I do now. Yeah.
Okay. Is that
Yep.
like dominant channel in the area?
It is. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the very first television station in Maine. They were the very first ones. And they're like channel 7, channel 13, I think. There's a few now, but they get the most exposure, 100%. They're very involved in the community like I am. So we run into each other all the time. I'm working on a project right now in town with Kiwanis, and we have kids that are in a tech school in the high school, and they're going to, they just bought a parcel of land, and the guy, Sean, came to the office and said, Charlie, he was like, you and Jim know like what sells. I just need to know what sells. And I said, 3-bedroom, 2-bath all day long, make sure there's a garage. And so now they've purchased the lot. They've got the kids, like the kids are going to start out the school year next year, well, in August, putting the home together.
Okay.
And then they're gonna sell it with me. So it's a community project. I'm pretty excited, and I've already contacted Channel 5 and said, you have to be there. You have to be there during the process. So,
Okay. Thank you.
welcome.
So are you running these TV ads just on local TV, or are you running them on YouTube? Are you running them on Hulu? Can you talk through that?
I'm not, and it's a very good question. I'm not, but I really feel like I should. So before I became Remax, I did this very, very brief amount of time. I did this Coffee with Charlie, where I would just talk about what happened, whatever was happening, and I put it on YouTube. And then I didn't touch it. I don't think I've touched it for like 4 years. So now I'm like, well, we should get back into that, but I want to make sure it's Remax you know, so I'm gonna start a new one. And I probably will put the commercials on there.
So so podcasts are obviously huge now, right? Everybody has a podcast, everybody listens to podcasts. And so that's one of our things that we do with our broker and his teammate. So Brian and Kendra have a show, and they've done this for years. And they used to film this at one of our local radio stations. We have a few. And they would go to 107.3 KSLI at 5:30 on Thursdays, and they would set up their phone in the corner of the room, and they would hit live, go to Facebook, and they would go live in person on the radio every Thursday at 5:30. And then Brian hired me, and I said, "Hey, let's not do that anymore. What if we were able to be a little bit more strategic with these deals, and let's record them in batches, and then let's put them on YouTube, and then what if we took those things and we made reels out of them?" And so one of my biggest content philosophies is you only have so much time, right? You can't make more time. We all have the same amount of hours in a day, but you can give your content more legs by splitting up a long form piece of content, right? That's a big thing that Jason Pantana has talked about, is make cut downs out of longer forms. So what we've been doing is, so we record a 30-minute podcast episode. It goes up on Facebook and YouTube. And then I use an AI platform to split that up into a bunch of different reels. I use a different AI platform to create a blog post and a newspaper editorial, which the news editor just texted me and said, "Hey, we have space Saturday. Can you send me an editorial?" So I'm doing that after this call. So if you did a coffee with Charlie, what if you made it into a podcast form centered around real estate for your area, and you have real estate kind of conversations? You could bring in local events, you could bring in local vendors, and just have coffee and have a conversation, film it, put it on YouTube, put it through opus.pro or something like that, split it down, and then use that for blog content for your website. Because then really you're taking this thing that you took 30 minutes to do, and you're posting it all over the place. So you definitely start that back up, and you should turn these into YouTube ads too, and start kind of tracking that stuff. So I would love to. I think my rotation in the speaking deal is coming up in a few weeks, and I might start talking about some Google ads. We'll see. But let's see. Does anybody else have questions for Charlie? I see a couple of you joined in here. We've got Charlie from Dexter, Maine, talking about some TV ads that she runs in her local markets. Anybody have other questions? Okay. Well, I've got something that I want to throw to you guys that we actually tried. Oh, first off, thank you, Charlie. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
Then you did a great job. And I love seeing those commercials. They're super cute. So if anybody has other questions for Charlie as we keep moving on, you can message down here or shoot us an email. We're going to keep moving. So as we keep moving, we did something this week in our office, and I'm actually going to share my screen again really quick. And you guys feel free to screen grab this and copy and paste it, and you guys try it out in your area. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, so we did this a few months ago with a listing in the country. And so we had a listing that was coming available in our market. So we've got a market of about 12,000 people, and we are a hub. We're a local hub for a bunch of small feeder towns that feed into us. And so we have the only Walmart for like 100 miles or something. Actually, I guess there's one in a town about 30 minutes away, but nobody really ever goes there. And Target is about 160 miles away. So we're a little bit of an island. And so because of that, you know, we kind of do things a little bit different. And so you might be able to identify with that. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to preload this listing that we had coming available in an addition, and to try to spur some investment or some interest in some conversations ahead of time. So what we did was how many do you guys all use a CRM? Everybody uses a CRM, yes, of some kind. Do any of you use Boomtown by chance? Boomtown or something else similar? Okay, some of you shaking your head, yes. Yeah, so we got in Boomtown, we pulled up our leads, and we filtered them down. So what we did was we knew that this particular listing was about 265 to 285 in that range. And so we put a filter on and we said, only show us the people that are interested that have price ranges between 200 and 300,000. And essentially hit go. We had new, hot, watch, nurture, qualified leads in there. And we got about 170 potential leads. And so what I did was we went and we developed this text script together that we sent out. And I'll tell you right now, it did not go as planned, but it's okay. So, and Cassie's laughing because she was in on this and Brian was too. And it was really great and it was awesome because everybody got to laugh at Nathan and it's fine. I can take it. But so what happened was we sent out this text and you guys grab this and I can shoot this text or the script to you in an email later. But what it was this. We said essentially, hey, first name, this lady's name is Brandy. Hey, Brandy, as Brian with Advanced Real Estate Advisors, I noticed you were browsing for homes in the $200,000 to $300,000 price range. I've got a listing going live tomorrow morning that you might be interested in. A couple of quick highlights. Newer build in Woodward, 3-bed, 2-bath with a 3-car garage in a desirable neighborhood. The home is going to get a lot of attention. Send me a thumbs up or give me a call if you're interested in being one of the first to view this property. And so I tried to throw a couple of maybe grammar deals in there. I didn't capitalize newer, just for people to know it wasn't a bot texting them, right? Sent out 171 of these text messages. And the funny thing is, in our coding, so in Boomtown, you can have codes that say, hey, prospect first name, and it will autofill their first names in. An agent first name, and it should have filled other agents' first names in. Turns out every agent's first name, it just ended up being Brian. So it wasn't perfect, and there was a lot of people that responded saying, I thought this was Cassie. I thought this was Richard. And so they ended up having conversations, and it worked out fine. However, that resulted in this particular text message was a screenshot from Boomtown. I'm actually looking for more in the $100,000 to $200,000 range. More conversation, potential listing. We had, let's see, I think a total of 4 showing appointments before it actually went live on the MLS the next day. People raising their hand and saying, yes, I want to look at that. Yes, I want to look at that. Absolutely. And so this is the second time we've done this. The first time was with a home in the country, and it had some acres involved with potential to purchase more acres. And we had shot a marketing video to go along with it, and we had it unlisted on YouTube. And so we said, hey, there were 6 or 7 people that were looking for homes in the country in this price range. And we formulated a text like this that said, hey, I've got a listing going live tomorrow in the country with acres. This thing is going to go fast. If you're interested in seeing a preview, let me know. A bunch of people said yes, went live. We had 70 or 80 views on that unlisted YouTube link by the time it went live, and it sold that weekend. It was crazy. It was crazy. So this is definitely something to keep in your back pocket as a bulk. I call it a pre-listing bulk text that will allow you to preload your new listing with conversations, showing appointments, and potentially new listings, because it would be ideal to, take one listing and get multiple out of it, right? I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Does anybody have questions? I see the chat, a couple of questions. Use Lofty, Sierra with Blue Door. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and open it up and let's see. Does anybody have some stuff or some questions they'd like to ask the group? I'd love to shift this into a group Q&A at this point, and maybe if you're wanting to ask the group some questions about what they're doing for mailers, or if anybody's looking to get into video or TV ads or anything like that, billboards, now's the time to open up for the group think, and away we go. Yes, Harpreet, can you unmute? Let's see if I can do
How are you guys?
Good.
Good. Sorry for popping in late. Nathan, your mass text you mentioned BombBomb earlier. Or are you doing that through BombBomb to all your clients, or do you have a separate app for mass texting off your phone?
So we actually use Boomtown for this as our CRM. We have
Okay.
BombBomb as well. We haven't actually hit go with that particular thing yet. BombBomb is awesome for those client touches with personalized video and things like that. Are you using BombBomb?
Yeah, for the videos. Yep. I've used BombBomb, but what's the app that you use these days for mass texting?
Yeah, so we did that inside of our CRM with Boomtown.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we essentially just got online through our lead portal and hit our filters and everything, and sent a bulk text to everybody that was qualified within that particular filter set.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. What else we got? Karen.
Nathan, I have a question for you. Doing that, would that interfere with clear cooperation?
So I think Brian can probably speak to that. We work really close together with our realtors, and so we were able to essentially field those and say like, oh no, sorry, our system messed up. This is actually Richard. But Brian, you can speak to that.
She's talking about the clear cooperation where basically we try to preload it, and we have 24 hours to put it on what we do 24 hours.
Oh yes. Yeah, Brian, you're cutting out a little bit there. Yeah, so yeah, Brian's cutting out a
So
little
the
bit.
clear cooperation piece is we're basically wanting our people to get first shot at looking at it. We are 70%. We buy, sell, same sides. I mean, we sell our own transactions out here because there's not very many people, so we have to do both sides. So the clear cooperation is probably not as complicated for us as it is for you guys. I'm not sure, but I would say we try to keep it inside our 24-hour window.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Sense.
See, anybody else with any other kind of things that we might want to ask about? What are some particular marketing efforts that you guys are wanting to try this year, that maybe there's some person on this mastermind that kind of has owned that for years and could share some things? So Kirk, I have a question for you. So in your market, I know you mentioned that you are in an area where most people, this is their second home, this is their vacation home, and your price range fluctuates from several $100,000 to a few million. And so it's almost like a tourist town in a way. I hope I'm not mislabeling that. So what percentage would you say the population would be labeled locals, and kind of share where you're at as well? I see it that it's on your name there.
Sure. Our year-round population is probably 18,000. And we're a series of lakes. We're kind of like Minnesota, Wisconsin, just a whole lot of lakes. There's about 5 or 6, there's 3 main lakes. And I would say probably properties that are on any of the lakes, about 85% they're a second or third home. They aren't year round. And so, I mean, we've got a small, like I say, that 17,000 have homes not on the lake, maybe in town, and they're, 3, 4, 500,000, what I'd call normal homes. But then the summer people come in, and we'll like over the 4th of July, we'll have 125,000 people show up. So that's the market that I've gone after and worked for my career, is that second market. And again, lakeshore property, it runs anywhere from 500,000 to 5 million.
It's incredible. So
We just pended a house yesterday for 2.1 million.
that's
And it's a tear down. It's a tear down.
a tear down. So it's the location they're buying.
It's a cottage. It's a cottage, and they're going to tear it down in a couple of years. Yeah.
Wow. So what do you think has been the biggest struggle with that particular market?
That's a good question. I think the biggest struggle is we draw from about a 200-mile radius. I mean, all of you guys wouldn't have no idea where we are, nor would you probably ever have a referral coming our way. And maybe the same scenario. I think our biggest struggle is letting people from, and again, I'm going to use Omaha, Sioux Falls, Sioux City, Des Moines. Those are the towns or cities, again, about 200 miles away, is to be able to attract those people as leads. And that's why I asked how far the TV station is away from your market. We don't have any local TV. We have one local radio station. So that's our biggest dilemma, if you want to call it, is finding new buyers. And in this market, it's we have our inventory is incredibly low. I don't know if you guys are running the same scenario, but we are. I mean, in my career of 30 some years, I've never seen the inventory like this. We do. I'm way off the subject here, but you mentioned BombBomb. We do a lot of BombBomb videos, and we always do a Friday market talk video. And these last few months, we've seen situations where, in fact, not this week, but last week, there was not one new listing in our area. Not one. Now, this week there were 5. Years past, you could have 20 in a week. So our biggest problem is inventory right now.
So
I'm rambling. Sorry.
No, you're good. So what are some things that you're doing to market to those outside moving in?
Probably the main things, we do BombBomb. We do 3 or 4 videos a week. Specifically, we do at least one marketing. We'll do, anytime we have a new listing, we'll do a BombBomb video on it. And then a lot of times, once the weather has changed, which is now, we'll start to try to do one local business. We'll go out and interview a local business. If there's a video of something, we just did a video on when the ice went out and what the lake levels were. And we send that out to our whole database. So that's about 7,000. We'll have anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 people watch our videos every week. That's the primary one. We also do mailers. We'll do any new listing, we mail to, and we can get a list of every homeowner that owns a piece of property on the lake. And that's about, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 probably. So we'll do a mailer. What we've really started to do, and we're starting to see a little traction, is, and this comes from my coach through Tom Ferry, we're doing notes. If someone calls up and said, either I want to sell my condo or I'm looking for a condo, and if they give us very specifics, in other words, if they say, I want to be at the Colony Condos, we'll then send a note to everybody in that complex and either say, would you consider selling? Or if the other side of that coin is, would you like, if it's a neighborhood, we'll do a note to that neighborhood saying, would you like to pick your neighbor? and we'll put a spin on that. Kind of the two directions there, depending if it's, buyer or seller.
Yeah, that's a fun idea. So I'm going to open this up. Thank you, Kirk. That's awesome. It's a very interesting market that you live in, and how to figure that out. So I know a lot of you guys raise your hands for low inventory. I know we feel that as well. So what is something that you guys have seen other than low inventory that is kind of a market struggle right now? I feel like everybody has the ability to shoot video and put out content easier than ever before. So what is that? I'd like to hear from some people that haven't kind of joined in yet, and I'm super thankful that we got some new faces in here as well. What are y'all's thoughts, and kind of give us a little bit of back info of where you're at as well.
Nathan, and,
Yes.
and I'm not trying to promote myself, but if anybody wants to be on my BombBomb list of the videos just to see what we do, I can give you my cell phone number and you can just text me your email address, and I'd be more than happy to put you on it. You can always suppress it and delete it and say goodbye.
Sure. What's
I don't
your
care.
can you type your phone number in the chat, and anybody
Sure.
that reach out can do that?
Sure, be glad to.
Is anybody else using BombBomb on here? Harpreet, you mentioned it. Karen, how are you guys utilizing BombBomb?
Just started up with it again. And it's more of a one-on-one as opposed to broadcasting something in particular. Yeah. I have a YouTube channel. We have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. So the BombBomb is much more one-on-one.
Gotcha. So you have that personal touch with somebody. So what are you doing specifically to market that? So it feels like that's not as broad as a podcast or a reel about a market updates. So are you targeting specific people for certain things, or what are you doing there?
Mostly it's for those people in the data in the CRM that have, I've got people that have been in my CRM since before 2020 and keep coming back to my website, keep opening, the what am I trying to say? The notifications that, something came up, and has never, ever, ever, ever responded to a text or an email or a phone call or anything like that. So that's where we're trying to get it to be like it's, here's a face to a name, as opposed to, hey, it's not just an automatic, I'm not just a bot, I'm a real person kind of thing. And that's why we're using BombBomb for that, because I have probably 10% of my CRM is like that. People who have never, ever, ever, ever responded to anything, but are regular on my website.
Gotcha. So where is Kanab, Utah? How big is your market?
We are a town of 5,000 people in a county of 7,000 people. Talking about your Walmart and all that kind of stuff. We're 80 miles to the nearest Walmart. So we're surrounded by Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon National Park, the Grand Canyon, Lake Powell. So, definitely more stickers and snakes than there are people around here. But like many small towns, because of the beauty, we do have a lot of second homes, and we have a lot of remote workers, digital nomads. We've, tons of people who like to hike and climb and all that kind of stuff and it's been great for our economy. So we've had 5G fiber optics since 2013, I think it is. And that was really to stop being a small town that lost all the kids and became a bunch of old people. Because the town was realizing that kids had to leave to go to school, they had to leave to find a job. And so we have this county economic summit, and it was like, well, what can we do? And people are talking about, well, we can bring an industry in, and it's like, well, that's 6 jobs, woohoo. And at the time, 5G fiber optic was a big deal. Most people didn't have it. I lived in Austin, Texas before here, and Kanab had 5G fiber optic before Austin, Texas did. And I was like, what? So we have a lot of digital nomads that sometimes they come and they stay a couple of months, at an Airbnb. Sometimes, especially during COVID, we had a lot of people come and stay and then actually buy a house too, because they could leave their house. People from California and New York who literally could not leave their house would come here, and it's like, we practice social distancing all the time because, you're usually 200 yards from the nearest neighbor. So, yeah, so it's a,
Go ahead. Sorry. There's a little lag.
oh, so it's just an interesting market because the people who live here, they're looking for something under 400,000. The people, and unfortunately our average price is like 550,000 because we have a lot of second home market, and everything that's being built is being built for the high end. No one's building anything for the low end. So we're almost to some of those ski cities where the people who work here can't afford to live here. So it's getting interesting.
That is crazy. So our average price point is about 175,000.
Wow.
And we have roughly, I think, 38 agents here in town in the surrounding areas. And I think we have roughly about that same amount of inventory. It is down, it is low. So that's a super interesting. We definitely identify with stickers and snakes as well out here. So, and I shoot most of our photography and video content as well as drone. And so I'm usually the guy to find most of those things. And so I know Kendra in our office is a fan of snakes, and I am not. I'm out on all the nope ropes. No, thank you. So let's see. I'm gonna go to a couple of you that are new really quick before we wrap up, and I'm just gonna round robin this really fast. You don't have to undo your video, but if you're in a place to unmute, great. I'm just gonna go to the first one I see here. Let's see, Gina, Northwest Arkansas. You tell us a little bit about your market and kind of what you are looking to grow in on a marketing standpoint, or as your business as a realtor. Maybe somebody here can jump in and help you out.
Well, I'm Northwest Arkansas is growing quickly. At 10 years ago, it was pretty tiny. Even when I came here, so I came here 6 years ago, and I bought 10 acres and a 4-bedroom house for $230, and that's unheard of now. That was just 6 years. So half my family's from here is how I got here. But anyway, it's grown quite a lot. We have 3 really big businesses here. I'm sure you've heard of Walmart. The headquarters are here, and they require all of their vendors to have brick and mortar here. So we have so many jobs. I mean, if you're not working here, it's because you don't want to. So people are moving here they call it to work, live, and play. We are now the mountain biking capital of the world. We have so many trails here. It's amazing. And the outdoor life that people have embraced here. What I'm looking for here, so I'm a relationship seller, 100%. And it's time. I've been in this long enough. I really need to up my marketing game. So I was looking to find ways to incorporate. I do want to do BombBomb. I've been trying to work on my Tom Ferry referral list. And one gal that I called to give her a referral, her use of BombBomb, I was really impressed and thought, I mean, that's great for your referral partners and for your clients. I mean, she immediately answered my email with a BombBomb video, and it was like I knew her before I knew her. So that'd be great for real estate inquiries, but that sort of thing, and video. I really want to try to get more into the video. So I did like the commercial aspect. I just think it might be too expensive here to do a commercial, but then again, I don't know. I've never priced it, so.
So I think, Charlie, and you could speak to this too, I think you're saving quite a bit of cost on the video side because you're having the news station shoot it.
Yes.
Speaking from a videographer standpoint, knowing what I typically charge to go out and do some things like this on a freelance basis, depending on what you're shooting and the quality that you're looking for and your time frame and all those things, that can get really expensive.
Exactly.
And so is most of your money going towards the ad spots in that? Is a decent amount going to the station? Like, are you comfortable speaking to that? If not, that's
Absolutely. So, I do a yearly contract with them. And I just tell them, this is my budget for the year. Break it up into 12 payments I pay every month. And so I really don't like, commercials during presidential elections because your spots are big dollars, so you don't get as many. But again, if you're out there, don't hide behind the rock because people will think you're out of business. So, all of the whole process, her coming up with the script with my ideas, and then, and like the t-shirts and stuff that the girls had on, like I just got those. And I mean, it's all included. So they drive to me. I mean, that was shot at my house. So they went to my house and shot that, and then they came back to the office and shot the second one. And that's just all included in the monthly. So you should ask. I mean, if it's something that you really want to do, Gina, I would nothing ventured, nothing gained. So,
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah, another thought to that, if for some reason the news station is maybe kind of what you want to do, maybe you want to do more YouTube or not. Another great thought is if there's any like career tech or VOTech, programs in your area. I know there's a few in our area that have multimedia programs. This would be a great learning opportunity for those kids that are interested in shooting video, that really just need a class project or need to get their hands dirty. And a donation to the school could go a long way, and it's going to cost way less money than if you were to hire a videographer. And especially if you're just starting out. Sometimes you spend a lot of money when you're getting started and you don't even know what you're doing or who you're talking to. And
Or
so,
what your return on investment is going to be.
exactly. And honestly,
Right.
Carly, you might even know this too, and you might kind of identify with this. Sometimes that ROI is hard to identify, right?
100%.
We've been asking ourselves the
Yep.
same question on the Brian and Kendra show. Is like, well, I mean, it costs this much money to do the radio show, and then all these other platforms cost. Are we even getting that? And then 3 people come up to Brian and Kendra in Walmart and say, "We love the radio show this week. That was awesome. I can't believe." And then they're like, maybe this
Right.
is worth it. So that's a little bit hard to quantify there. I think I might have just talked over you, Charlie. Did I interrupt a thought there? I'm sorry if I did.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Let's
I'm
hear.
just moving my computer because we're gonna have a closing in here.
I got you.
So
Well, hey, really quick, 2 seconds. Can I open it up to anybody else that has a question about marketing or anything like that before we close this down? Anybody have a general question? Okay, so as we go forward, we have another meeting in 2 weeks. This invite has grown to 35 people, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. We actually went to a roadmap event for Tom Ferry this last Tuesday with our office, and I got to talk to him. And I said, "Hey, give me your advice. Like, how do we run a successful mastermind?" And he said, 30's too big. You need to split it up. And I said, well, there's going to be quite a bit of attrition. And it's true. Not everybody can make it all the time. But just to forecast this thing, if in the next 2 weeks, this group size magically doubles or something like that, I want these things to be beneficial and have value for everybody and I'm actively looking at making sure that happens. And so I'd love some ideas pending that happens. Um, my first thought is to make it more local or colloquial to like a region. So say if we have 10 people in kind of like the North Upper Midwest, something like that, we make a small market mastermind for that. And there's 8 or maybe 10 people and we talk through things and you guys can, hash out things. And maybe there's one for the West Coast, maybe there's one for the East. I'm not sure. All I know is that I want these to be valuable and I want everybody to join in and all those things. And so that's where my mind is going. I keep getting messages every day now since I posted in Core of like, hey, hand raise, I'm interested, I'm interested, I'm interested. And those of you that found me from that, welcome. So glad you were able to join. And if you guys know of anybody else that might be interested in this that you've connected with at Tom Ferry or otherwise, please send them my email. I would love for this to be as valuable as possible going forward. And we're building the plane in the air. And so I really appreciate y'all's patience with that as we kind of figure a couple of these things out. And if there's one thing I'm taking away from today, it's that BombBomb is super popular and a very good touch. And I think video is going to be a pretty big topic going forward for a lot of us. So Charlie, thank you again for being our first presenter. Everybody give Charlie a thumbs up, round of applause. Thank you, Charlie. Kirk, you got your hand up. What's up?
Could I just put my 3 cents in with, I would rather not be regionalized. I'd rather have the exposure of the whole country because we're in the Midwest. We always hear of everything from the West Coast and East Coast. It all works to the middle. So I'd rather be broader than narrower in the group. Just my 3 cents worth.
Hey, that's super helpful. I just want to make sure as we grow, if this thing does get more traction, that we don't end up having 50 people in here and nobody talks, right? So that would be my group or my thought. And so I'd love for ideas on how to kind of field that as we go forward. But that's just being super transparent. And we could have 50 people on the email list and then 5 people show up because we have client meetings and things pop up, and that is great. That's awesome. So anyways, I appreciate you all. Thank you guys for joining in, and I hope everybody has a great week. Karen, oh, yep, I just saw you raise your hand. Yes.
Yeah. Instead of always making you the person responsible for coming up with content, I think it would be somewhat of a good idea for people to sign up for being the moderator and have a program or something, or show what they're doing and then open up to questions and stuff like that. So it's not always you that's trying to move this thing forward.
I would not be opposed to that idea. We can definitely look at that going forward. And I like the idea of having a couple of different potential moderators, seeing what that might look like going forward. So we have a list of presenters that are kind of loosely committed going forward into the month of June. Those are somewhat dynamic. If somebody can't make it, we can swap out. But as far as moderating, I'm not opposed to that. So would it be helpful if I sent you guys an email with maybe a form or a survey to see if you're interested in this, raise your hand, and then we can maybe do like a rotation. Would that be helpful? Okay, we can look into that. I appreciate you guys. Have a good weekend.